At some point in the distant future, humans began colonizing the universe. The military contracting company Exor, located in a massive complex in the sky, monitors a desolate world that houses a colony of imprisoned criminals. The capital of this prison world is called Osiris. Above this complex floats the fleet, a massive military base tasked with supporting new settlements. Among the personnel stationed in the fleet is Lieutenant Kane Somerville, a conflicted war hero who left Earth following a catastrophic incident during his first combat mission. A mistake he made led to the deaths of almost his entire crew. Although he was pardoned because of his distinguished record as a fighter pilot, the incident forever changed him and his family. Living in the fleet makes it challenging for him to see his 11-year-old daughter, Indy Somerville. Today, he takes her on a ride across the planet's desolate landscape. Unimpressed by the emptiness, Indy mentions that her mother thinks he's running away. Kane deflects her comment, saying he hasn't spoken to her in a long time and that he's proud to be part of a project aimed at building a better future for humanity. To connect with Indy, he lends her his weapon and teaches her how to shoot before they explore the new bunkers together. After their adventure, Indy must go to Osiris to stay with a babysitter, as she can't remain in the fleet with him. Kane promises he will return in a week and that she can call him anytime. That night, he glimpses the dangers lurking in the barren land. The next morning in the fleet, his AI assistant, Travis, wakes him and prepares his breakfast while playing his messages. Kane ignores those from a coworker and his wife but listens to Indy's message, which abruptly cuts off. When he asks Travis to restore it, the AI informs him that all communications with the surface have been temporarily suspended due to disturbances in the prison. General Linex oversees the Exor complex, and she's known for prioritizing her own position over the welfare of those who inhabit the universe. Right now, she's receiving a status report from the colony following a prison breach. Creatures created by Exor have entered and begun attacking prisoners, and the outer cities have vanished. It's only a matter of time before these monsters pose a threat to everyone on the surface. While the Colonel wants to save lives, Linex is more concerned about the company's reputation. She calls a meeting to present an alternative plan, but she misleads the attendees, including Kane. Linex tells them that the prisoners have mutinied and are in possession of a lethal virus that Exor had developed, using it to hold the planet hostage. She warns that if Exor intervenes, the prisoners will release the pathogen in the capital. This situation requires Protocol 84, which calls for the complete destruction of the colony. Linex claims that if the prisoners discover this, they might negotiate a better deal, giving them 23 hours to do so. She reassures everyone that the people in the capital and the families of employees will remain safe. After the meeting, Linex orders the Colonel to tag each participant to monitor their behavior during the 23 hours. Any unusual movements will lead to immediate isolation. Desperate to reach Indy, Kane tries to contact her but can't get through. When he asks Travis for reports on the prison incident, he's told the information is classified. The Colonel, feeling sorry for Kane, reveals the truth: there is no virus. Exor has been hiding the existence of creatures called Ragged, which were meant for new colonies. There's no hostage situation, the monsters have escaped and are advancing toward the main city. In 23 hours, Exor intends to detonate the reactors. Kane is enraged at the Colonel for deceiving him and allowing him to bring his family into this danger, but the Colonel doesn't have time to argue. He informs Kane that the hangar bay will lock down in 20 minutes, after which no one will be able to enter or leave the station. Kane decides to do what he knows best: fly. He steals a ship and skillfully maneuvers to evade the officers pursuing him. However, when he pushes the ship to its G-force limits to take out the last Exor guard, he starts to lose consciousness. The emergency system kicks in, ejecting him from the seat. Just in time, Kane manages to unbuckle his seatbelt and deploy his parachute, landing safely in the water. But he's quickly knocked down by a mysterious figure with a weapon. As he gets back up, Kane realizes that his captor is Sai, who now has a gun trained on him. Kane tries to explain his situation, spinning a story about prisoners having access to the reactors. However, Sai, who used to be a nurse in the prison, sees through the deception. To convince Sai about the impending explosion, Kane claims he needs to save his daughter in the capital and offers access to a secure bunker if Sai helps him. Sai agrees. A flashback reveals Sai as a prisoner, having lunch with fellow inmates Dim and Crate while discussing an escape plan based on information from another inmate named Carmel. Crate dismisses the plan as a suicide mission, but Sai insists it's now or never, which leads to Crate's refusal to join. They learn that another inmate, Bostock, and his group are ready for the next step of the plan, but they need to be placed in solitary confinement to finalize their escape. Carmel attempts to get sent to solitary but is instead taken to a meeting with the warden, Morton, who ridicules him for his religious beliefs and refuses to send him to solitary, beating him while two officers hold him down. Meanwhile, Sai instigates a fight in the cafeteria, which Morton and the guards surprisingly allow to continue as long as the crowd behaves, as it serves their strategy. However, when Crate misbehaves and injures Sai's opponent, it incites a riot, prompting guards to intervene. The prisoners are then sent to solitary confinement, which consists of disorienting rotating cells with flickering lights that can drive them insane. Sai stays in solitary until Morton comes to take him and Dim for a special purpose. Back in the present, Sai points out to Kane that they won't make it to the capital in time. Kane counters that they can't walk, but there's a smuggling post beyond the mountains where they can find a vehicle. Their conversation is interrupted by ships flying overhead, forcing them to hide in the tall grass as Exor starts searching for Kane. Hi movie buffs, don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, share, and bell button. It's free and it really helps. You'll be notified of each new recap. Moments later, they reach a bar at the post where Jip and Bill are throwing knives at a target. The bar owner tells Kane that the couple owns the bus outside. When Kane approaches them, they get annoyed at being interrupted. Jip puts a knife to his throat while Bill confronts him, but Sai intervenes, explaining that Kane is a defector from Exor looking to reunite with his family and is willing to pay $2,000 for the trip. Bill agrees, but only if Kane can pass Jip's test, getting high and throwing a knife at the target. Kane hits the mark perfectly, allowing him to pass the test. The four of them then agree to leave and make a stop to pick up some weapons. Another flashback begins in the prison. Dim awakens inside a cage and sees a monster approaching. The creature strikes his neck with its tongue, injecting him with a dangerous substance. Meanwhile, Sai hears Dim's screams from another room as he also wakes up in a cage. Morton is nearby and starts explaining Exor's terraforming project, detailing how they are turning prisoners into adaptable beings that can survive in any environment. Suddenly, the floor opens beneath him, and he vanishes, reappearing in a different room with Bostock. Having executed their plan, Morton has acquired fake IDs and clothes, including one that identifies Sai as a nurse. Just then, Crate interrupts, claiming he has unleashed chaos. The prisoners start to panic and flee as creatures begin attacking everyone, including the monster that used to be Carmel, who kills Morton. Bostock and Crate decide to head to the capital, but Sai opts to go to the opera instead, leading them to part ways. The scene shifts to Earth 2 years earlier. Sai learns he is being sentenced to 20 years in prison, labeled a monster for violating the code and betraying public trust. He dismisses it, feeling nothing else matters. Back in the present, Kane and Sai are waiting for the weapons they ordered. Mandel and Joe arrive with the weapons, demanding $30,000. Kane pays up, and the group leaves. Once they're out of sight, Mandel and Joe celebrate their newfound wealth. While they drink and dance, they notice something alarming in the distance. The monsters are coming. Joe and Mandel try to defend themselves by shooting through the windows, managing to take down a few creatures, but others break in. With no other choice, Joe decides to detonate a grenade. Later that night, Kane talks to everyone on the bus about the monsters and the bomb set to explode in 4 hours. The group engages in a philosophical discussion about how they got there, contemplating fate, consequences, and the ethics of using prisoners for free labor. When they arrive in Osiris a few hours later, the city is in utter chaos, with monsters attacking from every direction and infecting more people. The group readies their weapons and decides that while Kane searches for his daughter with Sai, Jip and Bill will stay behind to protect the bus. They take down every monster that approaches while Kane and Sai head into the building where Indy lives. Inside, they encounter a neighbor who admits he's never seen Indy but allows them to go upstairs. They break into the apartment and find the babysitter dead, but Indy is safe, hiding in the closet. After telling her that the babysitter went home to shield her from the truth, the three try to make their way downstairs but are blocked by a monster, forcing them to find another escape route. Meanwhile, Jip pulls Bill back into the bus after he's injured by a creature. She searches for a first aid kit but finds nothing, and is left helpless as Bill dies in her arms. Meanwhile, Kane, Sai, and Indy reach the rooftop and lock the door behind them, realizing it's their only way out. Sai takes Indy and jumps off the roof, landing safely on the bus. Kane follows but nearly falls. Fortunately, Sai catches him and pulls him up. They start banging on the hatch, begging Jip to let them in, but she hesitates, still shaken by Bill's death. Eventually, she relents and opens the hatch, starting the bus to drive them away while Sai covers Bill's body with a blanket. Kane explains the situation to Indy and apologizes for not being more involved in her life. Indy accepts his apology. He then gives Jip directions to the bunker and ensures everyone knows the code to access the Exor complex. Meanwhile, Line X is initiating Protocol 8884 when she learns that a bus is approaching one of their bunkers. She dispatches a ship after them, and it's Indy who spots it through the window. Kane tells her to hide and warns Jip not to turn, hoping to keep their location secret. After following them for a while, the ship veers off, allowing Jip to make the turn toward the bunker. Just as they nearly arrive, the ship reappears in front of them and opens fire, only leaving once it runs out of ammunition. Jip and Kane are killed, but Sai and Indy manage to escape. Indy is hesitant to leave her father, but time is of the essence. Sai picks her up and rushes her toward the bunker. On their way, a monster spots them and chases them through the caverns, infecting Sai with its tongue. In a desperate act, he shoots the creature in the eye to fend it off. They finally find the bunker entrance, and Indy inputs the code, allowing them to enter just before the planet is bombed. However, Sai begins to transform into a monster and asks Indy to find something sharp so he can end his life. Indy refuses, saying she can't do it alone. Instead, she talks to him and touches him as he undergoes the transformation. In another flashback, Sai's life as a nurse in a hospital on Earth is revealed. He has a breakdown upon realizing that the patients being brought in are his wife and daughter, both of whom do not survive. In a fit of rage, he misuses his position to enter the room of the man responsible for the accident that killed his family, trying to punch and strangle him before security intervenes. In the present, several days have passed since the explosion. Two explorers discover the bunker and see Indy in the distance, wearing a space suit. Suddenly, they are attacked by Sai, who has transformed into a monster but retains some rationality thanks to his bond with Indy. After killing one of the explorers, he interrogates the other about what's happening outside. The explorer explains that the flotilla is returning to Earth after being recalled due to the disaster. The official narrative is that prisoners revolted, took over the reactors, and caused a meltdown, resulting in no survivors. Indy tells the explorer that if she wants to survive, she must let Indy help her board the flotilla without being detected. With no choice, the woman reluctantly agrees. The film ends with them boarding the explorer ship. The woman watches as Indy and Sai communicate through sign language. Indy gently caresses Sai's head and holds his hand, conveying that they are finally going home and bidding farewell to her father. Thanks for watching. If there's anything you would like to see, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe.